everybody, this is Perch, and let's talk about a topic. I don't think I've talked about this before, but if we're being honest with ourselves, it is a thing. This is real, and that is the annoying comic book fan or annoying comic book customer. Now, I know for several of you, you say, well, if the customer is king, if the customer comes in with money, you treat the customer well, and that's fine, and you should as a store owner, barring the customer doing something truly lunatic wise. But, if the person's going to come in and be, mildly obnoxious or frustrating or annoying, but they're buying comics, any good shop owner will tell you put up with that. You kind of have to. That's the nature of the business. That's the nature of, when you work in retail, any kind of retail. You're going to have some customers in there that annoy you, but unless you're a fool, you will cheerfully with a smile take their money and do your thing. But that doesn't mean that the person's still not annoying. And I think for any of you who've gone into a comic shop, and I'm not even going to open up the Pandora's box of just people online, but let's keep it to real life here for a minute. If you've gone into a comic shop, you probably have encountered the annoying customer, the annoying the person who is just, for lack of a better word, socially awkward, arrogant, believes they know everything completely. They have all the answers. And granted, you do see a lot of these behaviors exhibited on social media and places online, but there's anyone who's gone to a comic shop, run a comic shop, worked in a comic shop will tell you that these customers have existed. And there's a couple different flavors of this. There is the customer who comes in and believes themselves to be the authority of everything. They are the knowledge, and usually they're pretty good. They've got a lot of they know. They can rattle off. There was a guy who used to be able to come in, and he could tell you the colorist on Marvel books back in the 70s through the 90s. He had them all, like you could name the title, and he would roll out the colorist. It was impressive. The guy was annoying, but it was impressive. He was a wealth of information. The problem with him is that he knew he was a wealth of information, and so he would, you'd be in like, oh, I wonder what this back issue was. He'd like just engage. He'd insert himself into the conversation. Be like, well, that issue was done by Bob Green, and you're like, oh, okay, thank you. Not information that we care about at the moment, but appreciate your input. There's that type, and again, I suspect many of you have met that type. There is also the type of person who says things that are just, again, I say socially awkward, inappropriate. I remember a guy coming in. Almost all these stories are going to be about men, unfortunately. Sorry, but there's a guy who came in and he was obsessed with the topic of, do the female superheroes shave or not? Like how much do they shave? Is it full Brazilian? Is it landing strip or no? I guess is the not quite polite way to say it. But that was his topic. He loved to talk about that. So wherever the conversation would go, he would insert his theories as to which superheroes, and to an uncomfortable degree. These are the kinds of people who, I have at least some minor sympathy to when they say that women are uncomfortable in comic shops. That was not my experience. I had many female customers. They were fine. But I could see where you would get uncomfortable if you're in buying comics and there's this guy who wants to talk about how shaven or not shaven Storm is versus Rogue. And so, as a shop owner, you had to kind of cut these conversations down. You just, again, it's like, hey, we got some kids in here. We got some women in here. We got you know your audience. You guys, for not even women and kids, like there are other men who are uncomfortable with going in to just pick up their copy of whatever the comic is and having to, hear speculation about stuff about that. And I remember that guy was all. He's like, well, if you're going to wear spandex like that, then you really can't have a lot of hair because you'd see it through the spandex. It's like, dude, when you're fighting Dr. Doom, nobody's like, he is not pausing in, murdering people in Latvernia to go, well, I can tell from Sue Storm's spandex costume. Anyway, you get the idea. So there's that personality type again. So the other type of customer fan that is frustrating and is annoying, and I get it. I get this one. In a lot of cases, by the way, I get all of these things. I get these behaviors. I think there is like in the case before, there's certainly a lack of common sense that goes on where you just want to be a relatively decent person to the people around you, whether you agree with them or you don't agree with them. You don't want to come across like a complete ass. And I think that's where a lot of this stuff stems from. And it goes without saying, again, before somebody comes in and wildly misconstrues what I'm saying, which a couple of you do. There's one guy in particular who comes in and has the worst possible take of everything. And it's like, you always look at that stuff and it's like, is this a bit or are you really dense? So anyway, could be either way. Uh, obviously, if you're a retail shop and somebody is coming in with money, your obligation is to take their money, give them a comic. If they're a dick, then you have a choice of how much of that you want to put up with before you say, I don't want your money anymore. But that should be a pretty high bar because you have lots of different personality types, lots of different behaviors. And generally, the bar that I would place was always around, is this person's behavior impacting other customers? Because then it's less about me, and it's more about the entire store. So, and for the record, even though if you go on Twitter, you would believe that every disagreement is political based, the times when I've had to step in on something political in a comic store is zero. Over nearly 30 years is zero. That never came up. People did not come in and say, I love Obama or I hate Trump or whatever, and then cause a scene. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in real life. And most of you know this because you go out in real life and you go to Home Depot or you go to, God help you, Arby's, and you do not encounter this kind of stuff. This is anyway. So you should try to take the customer's money, even if they're being obnoxious. But one of these, kind of the last obnoxious behavior I'll throw out there, and this is where I think it's a misunderstanding of just how things work, is people who come in with comics and they want the comic store to buy them. They want to sell some comics. Now, first off, not all comic stores buy comics, and generally cash flow is a big factor in whether this shop is going to buy comics or not. If the shop doesn't have cash flow, they're certainly not going to buy a bunch of back stock. If they feel like their back stock is, their back issues are building up, they'll pass on that. They likely will. It's not a, all or nothing approach. In many cases, they'll say, I'm just looking for certain specific issues to fill holes in kind of what we offer as a store. I'm not just going to buy anything. But what's common is that people will go, and this happened to me many times, they'll go on eBay and they'll find the highest possible price that a comic sold for. Regardless of condition, they'll say, okay, well, here's this comic, and this comic on eBay was sold for $40. Now, the market value inside the shop may be $5, and who knows what happened to that. I mean, maybe somebody spent more than they should have on eBay. Who knows why the person got it for $40? Nobody knows. But regardless of that, the customer comes in with this comic, says, I have this comic and I want you to buy it, and I want $40 for it. And you tell the customer that I'm not going to buy, it's not worth $40 to me, so I'm not going to do that. And then a tantrum ensues. And this is probably the most common of the obnoxious behavior. Not as common as the guy who would come in to talk about, whether character shaved or not, because that person was a regular. But this is a very common thing a lot of shops have had. The customer comes in, wants money for the comic they're holding, and doesn't like the price that they're being offered. Now, it goes without saying, absolutely, do some shops lowball people in this situation? 100% they do. Definitely that is a thing as well. But the person who has all the power in this case is the store. The store is the one who's going to give you cash. And so if they're disreputable and they're going to lowball you and they're going to give you an unfair number, the right answer is don't sell your comic, go to another store. Don't do business with somebody who's going to cheat you. But by the same token, it's comics are not just, static currency. It's not like you go somewhere, you say, oh, I see this comic is worth $20 on eBay, therefore it's worth $20 for me. No matter where I go, it's $20. It's very location sensitive, person sensitive, time sensitive. You have no idea what's going on. When the Death of Robin issue came out, a number of people ran to the newsstand, bought that issue, ran back to the comic store, immediately started selling it. At the very beginning, People, there are copies, some you're going for $50, $60, kind of the month after, because that comic sold out. But within another month, that comic was going for $15 in a lot of shops. Why? Because they had a lot of them. They had filled up their stock. If a number of people all go and sell the same comic, then the shop has capacity. It has backstock of it. It's not going to just eat it all up at the same price. And this factor can be extremely frustrating if you're a comic fan, comic collector. It's super annoying. I get it. Nobody likes that, and it sucks. But it is what it is. That is how the market. It's like the stock market. Things go up, things go down, and there's not a rhyme or reason. Unlike the stock market, there's not a single source of trading. It's everywhere. It's every shop has different rules, different things they're going with, different stock they're on hand, and I've had customers absolutely just lose it, just absolutely lose it over this topic and throw a gigantic fit everywhere. So that's that's probably the case I've seen the most. But anyway, like I said, I had the question come in of like, what are some annoying customers, and how does that mirror some of the social media stuff? I don't know if I covered that last part of the question, but it's the same. People who think they know more than they do, and they are obnoxious about it. Good common sense goes a long way. Anyway, there you go. There you have it. Let me know annoying customers you've encountered, and please, again, spare if you're already writing the lecture about how customers you must treat them like kings no matter what they do, and as it's I get it. It's okay. You do not need to write the lecture. Obviously, I put in, I think, 2 disclaimers during the course of this video about this. Please do not be triggered. Don't be a snowflake about this topic, and just there are annoyances everywhere in the world, and it's silly to deny they're not there. Of course they're there. Thanks for listening.